Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode 2 of the Void Playground. And I have here JD, as always, and then we have
Hello.
Plugged. Plugged, can you please tell everybody who you are and what you do for the Void?
Hey guys, my name is Plugged FX. I am the Void 2 manager. I am the person who is in charge of all the semi-competitive and casual squads that is for the Void 2. So that would be shooters like
Excellent.
Fortnite, Valorant, Apex.
Good. Oh, sorry about that. Wow, I'm banging stuff everywhere. So Plugged, we just hit 35,000 members on Discord. How does that make you feel?
I'm pretty happy to see what happens for the Void just after hitting 35k. 35k is a huge jump. I think I remember us talking about when we could just try hitting 15k. Remember that?
Yeah, dude, the good old days, man, when we just had those ambitions of 15K. JD, I know you're relatively new to the Void, but how do you feel about us hitting 35K on Discord?
I think that's amazing. Wow. Like 35k, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and for those of you who it's crazy because it's like it doesn't hit you like immediately. It's just like, oh, it just kind of starts happening, and then all of a sudden it's like you're at 35K, and then we're at, I think 3.1K in the Void 2, right? Plugged.
Yes, we are.
Wow, it's incredible. And then, so yeah, guys, we have this huge, massive Void family going. Obviously, as usual, we're gonna have fun links to Discord servers and websites and all that fun stuff in the description. We'll talk about that after the video, though. So, very important subject today. Star Wars.
Oh.
And this is also going to lead into some other stuff. But this is a Star Wars. We're going to talk about Star Wars and kind of a little bit of the entertainment industry as a whole. So, but first of all, let's just get it out of the way. JD, what's your favorite Star Wars movie?
Oh, okay.
I hate to put you on the spot like this, man, but
Okay, so not to be controversial, but my all-time favorite has to be Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, that's not a controversial decision. I can see.
Yeah, it's controversial because not a lot of people like the prequels.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the prequels. Plugged, what is your favorite Star Wars movie?
Man, I think that if I was going to give a solid one, I think it would be Attack of the Clones. That one is probably my favorite.
That you want to talk about controversial? Okay. So my favorite one, oh god, that's tough. I do like Revenge of the Sith, but for me, I'm gonna have to go with Empire Strikes Back. I know it's a cliche decision. I know a lot of fans choose Empire Strikes Back. It's a safe choice, but I just like the movie. You know what I mean? So you guys both chose prequels. That's interesting. So for the longest time, actually, you know what? Let's JD and I, we were like kids. Like we were very young when Episode 1 came out, and like that was crazy, dude, to me. Like watching like Darth Maul. Everyone was dressing up as Darth Maul for Halloween. It was nuts. But yeah, so JD, what's your experience with Star Wars? Like, how did you get started? Like, what got you started into Star Wars?
So for me, I watched the originals when it first came out. So basically, my family had cable back in the day. My grandparents had cable, and so what happened was that they showed, I think was A New Hope. Or one of the old episodes is either 4 or 5. I don't remember which one it was, but I remember watching it as a kid, and I was like, "Wow, this is amazing! Like, I really like it." And me being a Star Wars fan, my cousins also was influenced as well as by it. So I was also influenced by my cousin, and then from there, I would not recommend doing this. But do you guys remember back in the day where we used to be able to record VHS tapes?
Yep.
Like movies onto VHS?
Yep.
So what happened was that my grandpa recorded all 3 movies onto VHS tapes for me to watch. And so I just loved it. I watched it a lot, and it actually sparked my interest in filmmaking.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Plugged. What about you, man? What was your like kind of introduction to Star Wars?
I think my introduction to Star Wars was back when I was like at my grandparents' house. You know, I was just like, I swear I was like 6 years old, and my grandpa would be like playing that movie almost nonstop. I always would myself just start watching it just naturally after, and then I was just like taken by like Attack of the Clones. I think that was my favorite movie mainly because I would just buy all the like Clone Wars toys and stuff and just collect all of that stuff back when that was a huge thing. I think that even my grandpa owned like some really antique Star Wars toys from the sequels, and that I think was like a pretty huge thing as well.
Oh, speaking of the old antique toys, I used to have a Luke Skywalker X-wing.
Luke Skywalker X-wing. I remember having. Oh my gosh, no! I had my grandpa. He owned the Han Solo, and as well as that like thing from oh my gosh, that like monster thing from Hoth.
Yeah.
That monster thing. Oh my gosh, that one I played with the most when I was like 6 years old. That was a lot of fun.
So that's good, guys. My introduction to Star Wars was with the original trilogy as well. My dad did have the VHSs, and I didn't get to watch episode 1 in theaters, but I did watch episode 2 and 3 in theaters, and I enjoyed them. And like as I got older, I think a lot of people just started to hate the prequels. I mean, they probably hated them, when they first came out. But a lot of people, I remember just like being like, kind of in my teens, and then in high school, and then people just hated the prequels. And so I really started to have a hatred of the prequels for no reason, really, other than just everybody else hated them. So I'm like, well, I better just start hating these as well. And I really hated episode 2. I hated episode 2, Plugged.
Same.
And
well, I don't hate it. I like it less than the others.
Well, let me tell you, I had an experience though. Like I started watching the makings of these movies. I started, really just and then just watching them and just kind of enjoying them. Obviously the Clone Wars TV series made me enjoy the prequels a little bit more, but just really also the sequels, right? The sequels made me have a newfound appreciation for the prequels because the prequels are they're cohesive. They're one story, but yeah, I like episode 1, episode 2, episode 3 now. I really love the prequels. I've always liked episode 3 and episode 1, but episode 2 just for whatever reason, But now I enjoy it. Count Dooku, I really love that character, and I think there's a lot of good stuff. And another thing is during the prequel era of Star Wars, we got a lot of really good video games, right? We got the Knights of the Old Republic series. We got the Battlefront series 1 and 2. We got I think Republic Commando and all that fun stuff.
Oh, Republic Commando! I do like that game.
So yeah, we got a lot of good Star Wars video games, and I think that really helped us. I think that really helped during that time period. But I don't know. What was your first experience, or actually not even your first? What's your favorite Star Wars video game, JD?
Hold on. Let me look that up real quick. Plugged. What was yours?
If I was gonna say my first favorite Star Wars,
not your first
game,
favorite, just your favorite.
Oh, just my favorite overall. Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga.
Oh, that's a good one.
I've yet to play that. My favorite would have to be. It's so tough, guys. I really like Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. I'm playing Star Wars: The Old Republic right now. I didn't really get I got into the game when it first came out, and then I just, for whatever reason, stopped. I was like a big WoW player, and then I got into The Old Republic just recently, and I'm having a blast with the game. It's free to play, so there's that aspect of it. So, Plug, you mentioned the Clone Wars, the Clone Wars TV series. JD, have you watched the Clone Wars TV series?
I did. I forgot a lot of things, so I do need to rewatch them. But I did watch them. Yeah.
I was completely blown away by that series. Completely blown away. Like it just got better and better. And like you hate Ahsoka in the beginning. I just hated her. And then you love her by the end. You're like, oh my God, this is my favorite character. And so yeah, Plugged, like tell us about your passion and your fire for the Star Wars Clone Wars series.
I think the real thing that allowed me to really love and appreciate the show is, number one, I watched the entire show as a kid. And then I think the older I got, I went through the show again, like I think 3 times, just really going through it and really paying attention to the entire storyline.
Wow.
Yeah, I got so involved into it that like I know a lot of the characters just by heart at this point for like the main, clones and stuff.
Dude, so, I've been watching The Bad Batch. Have you been watching that one, Plugged?
I watched the first season. I think I watched the second season, but I haven't watched the newest one because I don't have
the second season is the newest one. We're only on season 2.
Good. So I have not too much to catch up on.
Dude, it's so good. Like the universe that's being built and the expansion of the characters and all that.
Especially right after the Clone Wars.
Hey, JD, did you watch that 2D? The 2D like Clone Wars? Back in the day, they're like little 2-minute shorts. I don't know if you remember those or not.
I don't remember those. No.
Oh yeah, those are fun. Those are like Plug. Did you ever watch those? They're like the little 2D Clone Wars shorts.
Oh, like the really OG ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I watched a few of them. There was like this one clip that they would always play about like the OG clone troopers, and there's like this one guy who's just like taking down a bunch of droids like it's almost nothing. That one, I guess, sparks my eye when I watched that entire thing.
So, okay, so the reason why we're talking about Star Wars is because, I love this journey. I'm taking us on a nice little journey here. So, did you watch the new Avatar movie, JD?
No, I did not. I didn't have a chance to, and then a lot of people told me that it was bad.
What?
I that's what everybody told me, so I was like, okay, I'll probably watch it later when it comes out on Disney Plus.
Oh no, dude. Okay, Plug, did you watch the new Avatar?
Yes, I watched the new Avatar.
Dude, I was blown away by that movie. Okay, now I saw the first one in theaters. I was blown away too, right? But I didn't really it didn't really have like an impact on me. This new one, it was like mind blowing, dude. Like it was so good. Like JD, whoever told you it was bad needs to reevaluate their situation. But the movie was amazing. But like right now, it's like it used to be like Star Wars was like the big thing, and superhero movies obviously in the last 20, 25 years have kind of overtaken everything. And we've touched on this before, JD, but it's like, I don't know, it's just for me, like with Avatar and I didn't watch the new Top Gun, but it's refreshing to see like other non-superhero related things, but did you guys see the announcement for the new DCEU plan?
DC?
No, DC, no.
Like the new DC like extended universe plan? James Gunn literally just I'm sorry for the keyboard typing, but he literally just announced it like I think yesterday. And they're like rebooting Superman, and I'm just like, ugh.
Wait, who's the guy directing all of it? Is it
James
Snyder?
Gunn?
Oh, James Gunn. Oh, I think is it because of the Snyder cut is why they're rebooting it, or is there a different reason beyond that?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of reasons, but number one, I think there's a lot of incohesion, right? They had the CW series, right, with all the Arrowverse and all that. This is why we need Elijah in here. Elijah knows more about Arrowverse than we do. But they had the whole Arrowverse, and they had the animated shows. Then they had random one-offs like Swamp Thing, which was really good, by the way. And then you have the Matt Reeves Batman, the Joker movie, and then obviously you have all the DCEU movies, and it got a little cluttered because it's like Ben Affleck. The whole Ben Affleck thing with Batman, and then now Henry Cavill, then they want Henry Cavill back, and then he was gonna come back, but then so it's just like I don't know if it's a good decision or not. We're gonna see. The only way to really see is what happens. Marvel, they're doing good. They're Marvel and but it's funny, JD. Like there was a time when like Marvel wasn't doing good, right?
Yeah, I remember
where
those days. Marvel wasn't doing good. That they sold off the rights to like some of their popular characters.
I find it bizarre that I think Universal. I could be wrong. I think it's Universal who has the rights to the Incredible Hulk, but to make a movie, but like Marvel has the rights to the character. I'm like, just let's make an Incredible Hulk movie. Like, let's make another one. Let's make it happen.
Can we redo that one? The one that we had was just it wasn't really good, to be honest.
Well, I mean, I just want to see another like Hulk movie. You know what I mean? He's been neglected.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like a side character in a lot of stuff. I don't know. Plug. Who's your favorite superhero? I'm just curious.
My favorite superhero, I think that would have to go to. I think Batman.
Like I really like Batman's probably definitely my favorite DC superhero, but I've been really getting into Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing's really good. I mean, just overall, it's so tough, dude. Like, I don't think I can choose one. I really don't. Like, I mean, it's because I can name like my top 5, like She-Hulk, Batman, Spawn, and then Spider-Man for sure. And oh man, that's tough, dude. I don't know who number 5 would be, but it's just tough. I have a love-hate relationship with superhero stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, JD. What about you?
For me, DC has to be Batman, and then for Marvel, for Marvel it is before Endgame, Iron Man, and now the new one. I think it's like Phase 4, right? I think we're Phase 4, right? Yes. Phase 4 is, of course, typical answer for me is going to be Shang-Chi.
Oh, cool, awesome! No, dude, that was a great movie. I love that movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, just in general, like for me, it's just tough. Like it's really tough because it's like, I don't know. It's just like watching all these movies and stuff. And I was gonna say something, I forgot what it was. It's hot take. There we go. That's what I was gonna say. So here's my hot take, everybody. Everyone's gonna hate me. I like Batman and Robin, like the movie.
Batman and Robin?
Yes.
Like the old one? Or the
one with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Uma Thurman, George Clooney.
Ooh.
Have you seen that one?
One second. Let me search that up.
Hold on.
It's considered to be one of the worst movies of all time. Okay.
Batman and Robin, the 1997 film?
Yes. I'm not saying it's good. Okay. But granted, I also like Wild Wild West, so you guys might. They're like, dude, Space Muffin just has like the worst taste in movies. Okay, I can explain. Okay, I can explain, guys.
Oh, that one. I love that one.
It was okay. It wasn't the best, but it was okay.
Okay, so for me, it's a bad movie, guys. And I love the fact that it's a bad movie. I love the camp. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger's portrayal of Mr. Freeze. I think he's having a good time. And I just think it's an entertaining movie. And I think the problem like today is like a lot of people get caught up in like good or bad, right? So like earlier today, like I got 2 new Blu-rays in, Troy and Alexander, the Ultimate Cut. And I had looked over these movies because they were kind of critically, especially Alexander, was like really critically panned. And I also looked over Kingdom of Heaven, right? So Kingdom of Heaven, just people were saying it's just the worst movie ever. But watching the director's cut of Kingdom of Heaven, like, I'm like, dude, this is one of the best movies ever. What are you guys talking about? So I've been on like this binge of like watching like quote unquote bad movies, but maybe like director's cuts of them and stuff. And I don't know, it's just interesting. But Batman and Robin, dude, like, granted, I was a kid too when that movie came out. So I feel like when you're a kid and you watch a bad movie and you like the bad movie as a kid, like as an adult, you still, I don't know, it's weird. How do you feel about that, JD? Do you think that's true? Like,
Some of it, yeah. Some of the movies that we watched as a kid growing up, now as an adult rewatching it, it's you know, it's kind of like okay now, because back in the day when we were kids, like anything like would excite us, anything would get us like anything would like make us happy, but growing up as an adult now, it's we start like we know better, and like we start seeing these movies and we're like, oh, it's okay. It wasn't the best, back in the day. It was like, oh, this is the best movie ever I've ever seen, blah blah blah, like, but now it's pretty good for what it was back in the day,
as a filmmaker, and like actually having to make movies and being in the industry and everything, I'm much less critical on movies. I try to just go in, enjoy the movie. Like I'm not thinking about it in the moment. So it's like the sequels, right? Like a lot of people, like I will admit the sequels for me personally, I think as individual movies, I think I mentioned this before. I think as individual movies, they're really good, but like as a cohesive story, they don't really do it for me. But like our kids or kids today are probably gonna be like, I don't see why everybody hated these movies so much, right? Like they're gonna be our prequels, right? Like they're gonna look at like the sequel trilogy and be like, that's what I grew up with, man. I remember like, oh, dude, episode 7, man, or episode 8, like the.
Okay, episode 7 was all right. The problem I have was
I love 7.
Episode 8.
Episode 8 was a lot of gotchas. Like I love Ryan Johnson, dude. I love Looper, dude. I love the Knives Out movies. But like episode 8, like there's, I don't know, man. Like it's, we could do a whole podcast on episode 8, but it's like, I think it's a pretty movie. It's very beautiful, and I think that just like there's just a lot of gotcha moments in it. That's how I feel. But I really like Ryan Johnson as a director. I love that guy. So I don't really have any bad things to say about him. But I don't know. I think maybe Disney as a whole, they could have probably, or Lucasfilm, they could have handled that a little bit better. Maybe had a little bit better of an outline, for the 3 movies.
Yeah.
I don't know. Plug, you're a younger guy. What do you think about all this? The sequels?
The sequels? The first movie, The Force Awakens, was it was a really good movie, and I was really like excited to see what's next. And then when I saw the next movie right after, I was like, well, this kind of was a flop. And then I was really worried about the next movie, and I'm like, did you guys just like skip the entire last movie? That was the only thing that went through my mind when I saw the last 2 films.
I can agree with that. I think like just the episode 8 didn't really pick up on a lot of plot threads that episode 7 had, and then episode 9 had to piece everything back together. I kind of liked episode 9, like some aspects of episode 9 I really liked. I mean, for me, like I'm not like an all or nothing. I'm not like, oh, I hate it or I love it. There are some movies that I just, I'm just like, I'm not going to watch this. But
so the argument for episode 7 is that a lot of people like it because it's a rehash of episode 4.
Yeah, I can agree with that, but I just liked episode 7. I thought it was a little fun. Like, hey, like, where's this going to go? We got the Knights of Ren. We got this girl. We don't know who she is. Like Luke Skywalker. So there were so many different plot threads. So, it was cool. And Snoke, dude.
Yeah.
Snoke, that was a huge missed opportunity, but it's like, whatever.
So, for Rey, did you guys, like, there's a lot of theories about, back in the day, like, whose bloodline she belongs to. Did you guys know that she was a Palpatine?
So,
because for me, I thought she was a Kenobi.
Right, okay, so let's talk about that for a second. I watch a lot of internet conspiracy like theory YouTube videos, right? Like there's one like where Jar Jar was like a Sith Lord or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I mean, why not?
Why not? Yeah, but I don't know, dude. It's like Rey, she's ultra powerful. Like I don't know. Like I watched a theory like before, like after episode 7 came out that talks about her being a Palpatine. So that's interesting. Very interesting. I I didn't know, honestly. I came into the movie fresh. Yeah, how'd you guys feel about Rogue One?
Rogue One was good. I like Rogue One.
Interesting. Plug, what about you?
Which one?
Rogue One takes place after Episode 3, but before
Yeah.
Episode 4.
No, yeah, I like that movie. That movie was actually pretty good.
Yeah,
So the
it
thing
takes
about Rogue
place, like-
One for me, like, it was cool, dude. Like, there was a lot of cool stuff in Rogue One, but upon multiple viewings, I'm just like, all right. I mean, I like it. I like Rogue One. You know what's really good? Have you guys watched Andor yet?
Andor?
No, I have not.
Dude,
No, I have not either.
bro, guys,
Okay.
let's end the podcast right now. We need to go watch Andor.
So the only Star Wars series I have watched so far is Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, and
Okay.
also Obi-Wan Kenobi.
How did you feel about those three?
The Book of Boba Fett was alright, but at the same time, it just like reiterated a little bit of what the Mandalorian was.
Interesting.
It just went like further into detail of like what happened during the events of the Mandalorian, and then, like for Obi-Wan Kenobi, it really sparked back my childhood of, again, like Revenge of the Sith, of like Hayden Christensen and like I keep forgetting his actual name. Ian
McGregor.
Yeah, Ian McGregor. His characters, like the whole aspect of Obi-Wan and Anakin. It's like just sparked that childhood memory again. It was just very amazing. Yeah.
So, in my humble opinion, Andor is really good. Like, man, it's really good. It's, in my humble opinion, it's the best live action Star Wars show that we've had. That's just my opinion, right? Is it as good as the Clone Wars? I mean, it was good, dude. I mean, we'll have to see if they make multiple seasons of Andor, but like, it was good, dude. The first 2 episodes for me, I'm like, and then it just ramps up, dude. Like, it takes you up to 11.
No, I think that the main thing I like the most, where I mainly enjoy the most out of Star Wars, is mainly just the Clone Wars series. I think that I probably spend a lot more time just in that era of Star Wars compared to like the sequel era and the original trilogy era. But I do like what goes on in between. That is what I think is really interesting, of how everything just like morphs into the original trilogy. That's what really sparks that side of like, oh yeah, I love the fact that they just made this work out so well for Star Wars.
Okay, JD, how would you feel? Or this is the how do you feel? How would you feel section of the podcast? How would you feel if they remade the original trilogy?
If they remade the whole thing?
The first 3 movies, episode 4, 5, and 6.
I'm protesting. I'm rioting.
I would agree
Why?
with that. Like, I've heard a rumor that they are thinking about remaking the original trilogy.
No. You leave those alone. No. You want to remake something? Remake 7, 8, and 9. Don't go after the first 6.
Okay. Now I'm asking another question. And how would you feel about not a remake, but a remaster, and maybe like a special edition director's cut type version of the prequels? How would you feel about that?
They already did a remaster.
The 3D ones, you mean?
The 4, 5, and 6. They already did a remaster.
No, I'm talking about of 1, 2, and 3, the prequels.
Oh, a 1, 2, and 3.
Because the only CGI that really holds up is episode 3, and even that, I mean, it's a little. So, like, I mean, would you be okay, or is it like, no, like, we can't like improve these movies anymore?
If they could elevate the movie to make it better, CG wise, then yes, that would be fine. But keep the story intact, because that's the story leading up to 4, 5, and 6.
Yes, absolutely. Would you be okay with like additional scenes that maybe we haven't seen before, or scenes that were like cut out. Like in movies, oftentimes. Okay, so so I'm gonna give you guys context, right? So like in Kingdom of Heaven, right? They cut out so much of the movie, like that. It's a terrible movie. Like when you watch the theatrical cut. Granted, I've never seen the theatrical cut. I'm sure it's fine, but you know, and then it's like they took out like 45 minutes of the movie, right? Because they had to like, you know, do that. So, like, I guess my question is, would you be opposed to them? You know, if there are deleted scenes, would like, you know, that maybe add more context or whatever? Would you be okay with them adding those back in to the prequels and maybe a special edition? We would still have the theatrical cuts. We would just have those in addition to the. How would you feel about that?
Okay, for that, I would not mind, again, if it adds to the story, if it moves the story along, you know. But if it's just taking up space of where, like, oh, this scene's just in there just to have, then no. Like, why are you having it in there? There's no relevancy to the storyline.
There are a couple. Okay, so let's talk about episode 2 real quick. Have you watched the deleted scenes for episode 2?
Yes.
Okay, so there are a couple deleted scenes for episode 2 that I think just should have been in the movie.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Like there's like the scenes where like Anakin and Padme like are there's a lot of development, and it kind of just I'm like, wow, this is like really good. Like I think like there's one where they're like sitting somewhere and like there's development there. Then you know there's one where they're like kind of walking, you know, from or to somewhere, and they're talking, and it just I don't know, it just adds a little bit more flavor and a little bit more character development. I think. I don't know, Plugged. You're the big episode 2 guy. How do you feel?
Yeah.
My whole thing is that, and this is kind of like if I was really wanting to answer for even the original trilogy, I think that if they add in episodes or like a show that is like it goes around the lines of what happened in between that timeline, but it's like away from the actual movie, I think it would make it so much better because they did that with like the Clone Wars in between Star Wars 2 and then Star Wars 3, which I think was a huge step forward in like, okay, really explaining what really went on. Because I think one thing that a lot of people didn't really like about the prequels was when they just like, you see the second movie and then you see the third movie and they're like, what happened in between? All of a sudden, like all the clone troopers are all like wearing different armor and stuff.
Okay, so let's talk about that, okay? Mm-hmm. I don't think that's what people didn't like about the prequels. I think there's a dialogue.
Yeah, dialogue.
There's a dialogue situation, which I watched a little bit of a YouTube video about like George Lucas, like he's like the king of wooden dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
And I happen to, like I said, I happen to think George Lucas is a genius, you know, because you look at a movie with like really great dialogue, like Lincoln. Okay, and I've seen Lincoln like multiple times, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember the dialogue for Lincoln, but I remember the dialogue for the prequels. I don't know if that makes any sense or not.
Yeah.
You know?
Same.
Yeah, like you could really quote a lot of the things that they said in the movies, and it is just like I can remember them, and I can just like laugh and remember them on the spot.
The reason why I don't like episode 2 was it was too more like romantic type situation.
Oh, interesting.
Action.
Oh yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I think that is the one thing that really tears down the whole entire movie. I think I only put it as my favorite because just that place that like, oh yeah, I watched that movie nonstop. But I think it's just because I like just when the moment I saw the clothes, I was like, wow, that's awesome.
See, yeah. JD, I like the romance in episode 2.
The thing is that like now I can appreciate it, but when I was a kid,
oh sure,
I was like, go straight to the action. I want to see more lightsaber duels. I want to see more blasters and type of stuff.
So going back to okay, so there's the wooden dialogue, the all these complaints that people have, Jar Jar and all that. Like I think what we have to realize, and this is what a lot of people don't realize: Star Wars was meant for kids. In my opinion, I don't know, JD, how do you feel about that statement?
I would say more towards like teens and young adults.
Okay, so like let's really pick it apart. So George Lucas directed, episode 4, episode 1, 2, and 3, right? He didn't direct episode 5 and 6. Episode 5, like, was vastly different. It was like on a cinematic level, right? So I mean, it's darker. It's people's hands get cut off, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it leaves you on a cliffhanger. Like there's so much like you're left like Hans and Carbonite, getting shipped off to Jabba the Hutt. Luke just got like this huge massive revelation. There's like a lot of dark stuff in that movie. Even like with Hoth, and all that, where they're just the battle, and then he's in the cave, and he's like and then so I mean there's a lot of stuff there, and episode 6, you come back with the Ewoks, they're cute and cuddly and all that, but there's a lot of interesting themes there,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, like looking at them through the eyes of a child, like looking at episode 1, 2, and 3 through the eyes of the child, they're amazing. Like they're the best thing ever. Like people flipping around, dude, hitting each other with lightsabers, and like evil dudes that are like really evil, and like good guys that are, I don't know. It's just I thought it was cool. Like I thought, I don't think that's a bad thing. I'll put it that way, JD. Right?
No, the reason why I say is for tweens, like young adults to adults, is more like because of episode 2. Episode 2 is more like the romantic side of things, like of Anakin and Padme getting together. And, as kids, we're like, ew, gross.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, more of like the tween type of thing.
I mean, obviously, it's like transgenerational. Like, our parents watch it, we watch it, our kids are probably going to watch it. But, it's like, I think, like, one of the issues is, and I think, like, the expanded universe and even, like, a lot of the video games, they made a lot of, like, our generation, like, take it a little bit too seriously. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of people take a lot of this stuff a little bit too seriously.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think a thing that, like, is weird, like, would be weird for people to say is, like, hey, I disagree with you, but that's okay, right? And like, people will get in, like fighting words. Like, if I say that, like, I'm not the biggest, like, Game of Thrones fan, people will be like, I'm going to fight you, right? Or, like, Lord of the Rings. Like, I actually enjoyed Rings of Power. A lot of people didn't enjoy Rings of Power. I liked it. Granted, I'm not the biggest Lord of the Rings fan, right? So, like, the people who hate Star Wars the most are Star Wars fans. Isn't it, like, you know what I mean, JD?
Yeah.
Like,
it's true. It's a love-hate
Yeah,
relationship.
Same with Alien, dude. Like, Alien, have you watched Alien Plugged?
Alien? No, I did not.
JD, have you seen Alien?
Yes, I have.
Have you seen all the Aliens or just the first one?
All I can remember now is just the first one. I don't think I watched any other. I watched Alien vs. Predator as well.
Okay, so a lot of Alien fans that I've talked to don't like Alien Covenant. But I'm like, dude, it's directed by the guy who made the first one. Dude, I loved Alien Covenant. I thought it was amazing. But I guess it like hurts the lore. Another crazy one, speaking of like things that people don't like, Henry Cavill is Superman, right? Like he kind of got a lot of backlash initially. Because it's like he's brooding and like he's kind of more darker Superman, where Superman is supposed to be quote unquote this like paragon of like positivity or whatever. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's true. I also see him. It seems like in the games as well, they love painting Superman as the bad guy later on in the storyline.
Well, it's like we've had so many years of Superman. It's like, what else can you do with the character? So it's like, oh, make him the bad guy, make him dark and brooding. I loved Henry Cavill as Superman. Yeah, I think I love it. I love those movies, but I think like people are hypercritical about stuff. Like Ben Affleck as Daredevil, that was another one that got a lot of backlash. But I watched, here we go again with the director's cuts. I watched the director's cut of that movie recently, and I'm like, wow, this is really good. Now, granted, I always liked that movie. I always loved the theatrical cut of Daredevil. And so I don't know. I just feel like people didn't like Heath Ledger when Heath Ledger was announced as the Joker. People didn't like that. Like, what, Heath Ledger, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. People just hate. They just don't like stuff. Just
if someone's
reason.
used to a certain type of like series, usually when something is changed, they tend to not like it, especially when it's like a huge change to the entire franchise. Like, I think when Star Wars in the original trilogy like was all done and finished, people were more expecting, what's the movies after that? They did not expect it to be like the prequels.
Well,
I don't think really
people. Okay, so Plug. People were hyped for Episode 1, dude.
Yeah,
like people were hyped for that movie on levels that you might not understand. Plugged. Oh, JD, you got to bounce before.
I mean, even before it even like came out, people were thinking of like, like the next movie has to be like Luke Skywalker as a master and he's teaching his own people. But then you get like the first movie and they're like, oh wow, this is gonna be really good. But then the prequels at the same time, like people are so like into the original trilogy to the point where they look at the prequels as a whole after it's all done and they're like, it's not like the best thing in the planet. I mean, it's good, but not the best.
So during my lifetime, there were 2 movies that were so hyped that that I can recall. Like 2 movies, they came out like within a couple of years of each other. Number 1 was Age of Ultron. Do you remember like the hype around that movie, JD?
Yes, I do.
That was dumb. Like that was so like the trailer, and then like everyone's going crazy because the expectations were through the roof, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the second one was The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Like the expectations were through the roof, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't know. It's just interesting to me.
I think it's because. Do you think it would probably be because like the entire story of Star Wars is just spread across so many years, and there's been a lot of lore books and all this stuff all built up that they expect.
I'll say it like this. I'll say it like this.
Yeah.
If like okay, so if the first movie does really really well, the second one like they want to hype it up. Ironically, like Avatar, I feel like wasn't like people weren't like going crazy about Avatar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe people were just in my circles, but it's like, it was a pleasant surprise, but I don't know. It's like, I don't get hyped for movies anymore. I just manage my expectations. I'm like, you know what? It's probably going to be bad. I remember Infinity War. I remember like not being that high because I didn't really like Age of Ultron, honestly. I mean, I love the character Ultron. I just didn't really like the movie as much. Not that it was a bad movie or anything. I just, wasn't vibing with it. But so when Infinity War came out, and I watched Infinity War in Sacramento, like in IMAX, and I remember like I watched it like 4 times, dude. And it wasn't because I wanted to watch it 4 times, because all my friends wanted to go see it. Same with the first Avengers movie. I saw Age of Ultron, I think, 1 time, but like Infinity War, like that was like really good. I'm like, wow, this is a really good movie. You know what I mean? That's how I felt about it. Endgame, maybe like I didn't feel like it was as good, but I felt like it was still a really good movie. And I guess it's like, how does Marvel and Star Wars and all these franchises, how do they stay on that level? How do they keep things fresh, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Star Wars, in my opinion, they've kept things pretty fresh because they don't try to change the entire story at all. Like, they tried keeping things, like, they finish all the movies, but they start a show that's based off the same storyline, right? But it doesn't have to do anything with the actual characters of those movies, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, plug. Okay, look. I mean, so this is my humble opinion about Star Wars. Okay, you're gonna have some good movies. You're gonna have some bad movies. You're gonna have some okay movies, right? Yeah. And I think, like, as Star Wars fans, we just have to like take it in, and when we get a good one, great. When we get a bad one, or one that we don't like as much, we don't need to necessarily go on Twitter or anything like that. But as far as keeping it fresh goes, plugged, like, I don't know, man. I don't feel. I think we get little nuggets here and there that are really cool. Like Fallen Order, right? Like that video game, like, it was kind of like a breath of fresh air. It's like, it's like EA's like, okay, like, we'll give you guys what you want. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, everyone wanted a Jedi and a lightsaber, and they had to deliver that.
well, we didn't want like a microtransaction infested mess. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
True.
I know that the people who created Jedi Fallen Order was actually the company Respawn Entertainment, and
Sure.
they're the people behind like games like Titanfall, mainly Titanfall and Apex Legends, which was kind of crazy because they were also EA was like trusting the people who were behind I think Battlefield for their Battlefront games, but they then trusted Respawn Entertainment for Jedi Fallen Order, which was very.
And I'm so glad that they did that because Jedi Fallen Order would have been terrible if it was based off of Battlefront.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing, guys. They're making a sequel to Fallen Order. Like, I haven't even I've played a lot of Fallen Order. I didn't beat the game yet. Oh, look at this guy.
I am currently replaying it on my stream.
Oh, good,
Nice.
good. Yeah, I mean, guys. So we do have, we have some time, and it's like, I don't know, man. Like for me, I think a lot of YouTubers and a lot of channels they like to get caught up in like the negative energy stream, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it gets more views, right? Like if I'm sitting here bashing Star Wars all day, like people are gonna be like, yeah, you're right, dude. Like Episode 8 does suck, And that was my dude bro voice, but like, I think everything, like a lot of stuff that's been said about this stuff, has already been said. As I mentioned, we're probably going to have more Star Wars episodes like this. We're probably going to talk about Star Wars a lot more and Disney as a whole.
Oh, yeah.
But
and just, we're going to say, JD?
I was going to say, have you noticed that the quality of, this is pertaining to Star Wars, have you guys noticed that the quality of the lightsabers have gone down drastically since we were kids?
Okay, so it depends on where you go, my friend. It depends on where you go. So, yeah, dude, like a lot of these ones on the internet, yeah, they're just like probably not going to be great.
The ones that like you get like at Walmart or Target,
right? Okay,
like,
yeah, those
back in the day it used to be really good,
those ones have gone down. Those have gone downhill.
Yeah.
I don't know why though. It could just be because I hit people harder with them. I don't know.
I don't know because for me, I got this in 2005.
Oh wow!
For my birthday. This
Darth
is
Vader? Is that Darth Vader, right?
Yeah, it's Darth Vader's. This is from Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, that's
and
nice.
it's hold up for it's like almost 20 years old and it still holds up.
Wow.
As to opposed of the ones now we have, those don't hold up at all.
We're gonna have to do a whole video on lightsabers. Wow. Yeah, guys. I mean, I think a lot of it, guys, is like, look, I don't know how toys were in the 80s. Like, I wasn't alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure people from the 80s are gonna be like, oh, do you remember like our toys when we were kids? Like, remember our like whatever. I guess like the problem is, JD, this is the problem. Perspective, right? So, physical media, right? Like that's something that's kind of like becoming like a novelty, like records, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, and really like most of me being an adult, nobody cared about records. They're like, why would I get a record when I can get a CD?
Yeah.
True.
And like before that, it was like, why get a record when I can get a cassette? Or why? And I guess there's a quality argument, but I don't know. In my humble opinion, like if you have to have really good you have to have really good sound equipment to make that work. So it's like the novelty of records are coming back, right? Because there's a quality thing, there's a tangible, touchable aspect. But it's like if I want to listen to some music, I'm just gonna put on Apple Music or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Spotify or something.
True. No one buys CDs anymore.
Yeah, like I don't even have a CD player. I think I have one in my car, maybe, right?
Yeah.
That means that I do have a lot of CDs, but I think like in the future, like because it looks like people are saying, oh, VHSs are going to be collectible. I think they will be, but I think Blu-rays are actually like 20 plus years from now. I think Blu-rays are going to be like collectible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that could possibly be a big thing.
Because I think like streaming is going to get so good, and like digital, like everything's going to be so good that like there's no point. And like, we're actually already like almost there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like and like the act of like, oh, like remember when you had to like turn on your PS6 and put in a 4K Blu-ray? Like people are gonna that's gonna be like a nostalgic thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now my laptop can do that.
Yeah, exactly. Now Plug's laptop can do that. So I've been purchasing some Blu-rays. I shouldn't, guys. I really shouldn't. But I'm just doing it to, like have that experience of. It's a really bizarre thing, JD. It's like I unravel it, you unwrap it. You have like sometimes some of them have little booklets. Remember the little booklets you'd get in games?
Oh yeah.
What
Now
happened
you
to
don't
that?
get those anymore.
Like what happened to the booklets, guys?
Oh my
You
gosh.
only get them in like the collector's edition.
I don't. Now something that used to come with literally every single game is now a collector's item, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's weird now, JD. Like we used to like when you get like N64 games, you throw away the box, right?
Yeah, of
Now
course.
the games are worth more with the box and the manual. It's like it's so bizarre how like just stuff becomes collector and cool.
Yeah.
Wow, remember the good old days, like when like phones had screens? I remember that. You didn't have to use a chip, Like I mean, I feel like that's where we're headed, But that's
Yeah,
like a
exactly.
totally different subject.
Mm-hmm.
But
Wow.
like speaking of streaming services, do you guys hear what Netflix is doing next month?
No, what are they doing next month? Oh no, I think I did hear about this, but tell us
They're
anyways.
charging extra fee if you share your password with somebody.
I'm like, bye, I'm out.
What?
I'm going to HBO.
Yeah.
No way.
So if you share your password outside of your household, they're going to charge you a fee.
I'm like, homie.
Monthly.
I'm like, Netflix, you gotta chill. There's Netflix and chill. Well, this is just Netflix chill.
Yeah. A lot of people are threatening to leave, but at the same time, if this works, this could also be like a example for other streaming services to follow.
Yeah, dude. Like, I don't know, dude. Streaming services are like, it's just tough, dude. Because it's like,
okay, if you calculate every streaming service that out there, it's more expensive than getting regular cable.
well, the thing that I hate, it's like, there are so many advantages to streaming, but I think we also lose something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Plugged, you probably don't remember this. Maybe you do. But JD, do you remember like video rental stores?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I do remember that.
Blockbuster.
Well, yeah, and Blockbuster's the big
huge
one. We had like we had like Hollywood Video where I was, and then
like the mom and pop shops also had those as well.
I mean, like you go in and there's like some like old dude or something at the counter, and it's like, I don't know, you walk in, dude, you got to find a movie. You don't know what to find, so he recommends like something. Because he knows every movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get the VHS, dude, and then you bring it back, and you got to rewind it because nobody rewound it or whatever. And you watch this like scratchy VHS, dude, that like, like I don't know. I discovered a lot of good movies that way, and just the tactile experience, the experience of like, you make a commitment, right? It's like today I turn on the show, and if I don't like it, I don't have to watch it. Or granted, I usually finish everything that I watch, or everything that I start. But it's like there's a commitment. You go down. I'm renting Gremlins 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm like a big Gremlins fan, but like I'm renting this movie or whatever, Friday the 13th, Part 6, right? And we're gonna watch this movie, or we're gonna watch this stack of movies over the weekend, and then you return them.
Yeah,
and,
it was back in the day. It was like an event. It was like, okay, I'm gonna go rent this movie. Everybody come over at this time. We're gonna watch it and eat and just.
And then you had the pizza. You had like the M&M's minis, right? You had like the whole 9 yards, like. And then so and so's dad would walk in and ask us if he wanted, it's just. I'm reminiscing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, why can't we just do that as adults now? Why can't we just, you know what I mean?
I mean, we can, but we just
yeah,
have
but
to
like,
schedule
a little bit
our
of a
busy
drive.
lives. Yeah,
No, but
be a drive.
we'd have to drive to Bend, Oregon, right? To visit the last Blockbuster.
Yeah.
But there's like little mom and pop, like really like jank, like used like video stores, and that has that same vibe, right? Like the handwritten signs, like dollar DVDs and stuff, like, and it has that weird smell, like that weird smell of like incense and
Yep.
and like candles and stuff. I don't know. Retro gaming, that's gonna be a whole podcast in and of itself, but I don't know, guys. I'm not gonna say it's better or worse. I think, like I said, we gain something from streaming, we gain something from a lot of conveniences, but we also lose something. And I think there's a middle ground. I think the middle ground is like the things that you really love, buy them on Blu-ray. The things that you really love.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And I think there's an element there. I know everyone, like, they're either going to stream or they're going to pirate things or whatever. And, if that's what you want to do, great, but it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I just hate the fact that they're going to charge us a extra monthly fee on top of what we already pay if we decide to share with our family or friends or whatever.
I think it's silly. I think what they should do is they should have a limit to the amount of accounts that you could have or something. I don't know. Like, I think like 3 or 4 households, and then cough up the dough after that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But like the situation of, like, let's say, for example, you're a parent and you have a kid who's going off to college.
You're right.
So what's that rule going to be like? If they're going off to, let's say, if you live, let's say, in Boston and they're going off to like New York for college, what's going to happen then? Or like somebody going off to the military or other things like that. It's like, that's just so stupid. That's just also greedy as well.
Yeah, I think it is silly, the amount of money that these companies make, but the good news is there's other services. There's HBO, there's Apple, there's Disney, Hulu, Peacock.
Yeah.
There's also Paramount.
I'm just hoping that other streaming services do not follow what Netflix is doing, because
I agree.
At that time, like, everybody is just going to be like, canceling left and right.
Yeah, no, I'll cancel. I'll get on the cancel wagon. But anyways, guys, look. So we are coming up on an hour. Closing thoughts, JD.
Closing thoughts are Star Wars is one of the best series. There are some hiccups with some of the movies and some of the shows, but overall, it's really good.
I love your R2-D2 in the background, by the way. Very episode appropriate.
Oh, thank you.
Plugged. Closing thoughts.
I think after today, I think I learned a lot more about, outside of where I am used to, like being the Clone Wars and stuff. So I think that this was a very informative, podcast.
Well, thank you, Plugged. So look, guys, this is the Void Playground, guys. And this is where we play on the ground in the void. And yeah, guys, if you like us, obviously hit the subscribe button. Maybe give the video a share. Maybe make a couple comments, And yeah, we appreciate you guys. The link's in the description. Okay, if you want to support us, we do have merch on our website. And, of course, join our Discord community to have more fun. You can talk to me and Plugged and JD. Look at that beautiful shirt that JD has. Repping.
Let's
the merch,
go.
Get
Repping the merch.
He's rapping hard. So, all right, guys. Thank you guys so much. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, guys.
See you guys.
Appreciate you.